So I arrived in Colombia in 2019 to live because I came here on vacation in 2018. And I was like, no, when I graduate college, I have to move. So a month after I graduated, I moved to Colombia in 2019 with a Fulbright scholarship. So I lived in Colombia in Bucaramanga in 2019. And then in 2020, we were kicked out when the pandemia came. So they were like, you got to go home. So we went home. And then when you guys opened the fronteras, like the border, in 2021, I moved back to Medellin. So I have been in Medellin since 2021, but I came to Colombia first to live in 2019. I came to Colombia because I studied in Ecuador in 2017, and I had a couple Ecuadorians be like, your personality is very like crazy, and you're very like energetic, and you're very expressive, and I really like birthdays, and I like expressing myself, and I'm very cálida, like I like people. And so they were like, have you been to Colombia? And I was like, no. And they were like, you should travel Colombia and just see like if the energy, like if you like the energy. So I came to Colombia just for a week, and I landed in Medellin, and I was like, the energy is amazing. Like, it's great. I love Ecuador, but they're more relaxed. And I think Colombians in Medellin are more active. And so I was like, oh my gosh, they're active here. Like in United States, it's also like people are more individualistic. People are calm. People are like with distance. But here it's like less distance between people. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I have to come here because they are energetic and close, and I like spaces that are energetic and close. So that's why I have found myself in Colombia for multiple years, because of the energy. I think there's a lot of differences between how I was raised, like in United States and Colombia. So there are some things that of course are like chocante, like you're like, whoa, my God. But I feel so good here. Like one of my favorite things about this country is you can be sitting in a restaurant and a song comes on, and your friends are like, this is amazing salsa song. Let's move the chairs and dance. And the restaurant people are like, epa, like they love it. That cannot happen in most places in the United States. I mean, you can find your lugares where you can, but I would say overall that's not okay. Whereas here, it's like way more about, no sé, like pasarlo bien, like having a good time wherever you are. So I've had a really great time here because I like that to be the central part of my life, like joy and having a good time. And I really like that. A lot of my friends here and my students, a lot of my compañeros in the job, there's always some alegría happening in our spaces. So that's how I feel with like Colombian people, is like having a good time and supporting each other. And I really appreciate that. What I really like about working at the Canadian school is my colleagues and the kids. So like my colleagues are so collaborative with me. So I can, say to anybody like, can you revise this? Like, do you think the kids will like this? Like, what do you think is going to be best for the kids? And my colleagues really know the kids. So we can have a conversation about like, maybe this group would like this, but this group no, like trying to fit what will best meet the kids' interests and needs. And what I like about the kids is their sense of humor. Like a lot of my kids are using English for the first time in like 100% of the class. Like, or they're using it all class, because they're with me. Some kids who are new to the school, like it's their first time being in a totally immersive English environment. And so they mess up. But I mess up in Spanish, so I can tell my kids like, oh, guess what I did last week? Like I was speaking in Spanish, and instead of saying this, I said this. And they think it's hilarious. And so they'll make fun of me, and like we can play with each other. And I think that helps the ambiente of learning a language, because it's like both sides. Like I mess up, you mess up. You're thinking English is hard, I think Spanish is hard. And I think the mezclar with the kids is amazing. I love that we can do that together. My gringo friends like always make fun of me when sometimes I speak to my gringo friends in English and the español me sale, like it just comes out. And when I'm speaking in Spanish, English comes out. Like I can't separate them. So I think people who best understand me speak both. because one way or the other, I'm going to mix. Like one of my best friends writes me now, dime. My gringo friends, they're like, dime over WhatsApp. And I'm like, because I'm so, like, there's just phrases that I use that I can't quitar. So for me, I really like expressing myself in Spanish. It's like a different cognition. I have my English cognition and my Spanish cognition, and with both I can fully express myself better because I have more words at my disposal. It's amazing. I love, well, like, dime is so simple, but, or imagínate, when you start a story and you're like, imagínate, like in English, we don't really have that type of intro. Or I also like, ay, qué bacano. Like, that is such a good little phrase to use, but my favorite word that I can't switch to English, that I always use if I'm speaking in English, I say juicioso. That to me is like, it's a great mixture of like focused, discipline. I don't know, we don't have a word like that in English that is just one word, like, ay, be juicioso. Like, be more juicioso. Oh, I want to be juicioso. So I appreciate that word as well to express something that can't be expressed in English.